Hello everyone, my name is Kimberly. I'm a 200-hour certified yoga instructor from Vancouver, British Columbia, and today we are doing a 45-minute Vinyasa practice, which can be challenging for some, so I don't recommend this class for beginners. I just want to take a moment to thank you for being here, and if you like this video, I hope that you join me for more videos, and don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. So let's close our eyes and bring our hands to heart center. Take a big inhale and then exhale. Begin to bring yourself into your body. Become present with your thoughts, erasing them as they go by. Scan your body from head to toe, releasing any tension anywhere you feel it. I like to set an intention for my practice. That can be anything from being present in the moment to focusing on your breath or sending some positive energy to a specific person, even if that's yourself. Sometimes we need a little extra love. Whatever the intention is for you, keep it with you throughout your practice today. And when you're ready, we're going to release out of this pose. Drop the right hand down, lift that left arm up for a nice stretch in the left side of the body. Breathing here. Legs are crossed. Coming back to center and then dropping the left arm. Right hand is up above us for a stretch in the right side of the body. Coming back to center. From here, we're going to walk the hands out in front of us to get a nice stretch in the lower back. Dropping the forehead to the ground if you can, and that's okay, on your shoulders and your neck. And breathing here. We'll come back to center. From here, we'll bring the left hand to the right knee. Right arm is behind us. Inhale to get some length, and exhale to twist. Come back to center, right hand to left knee, left arm behind us. Inhale, get some length, exhale to twist. Come back to center, we'll come onto our hands and knees, shoulders over wrists, hips over knees. Inhale, drop the shoulder blades and look up. Exhale, round the spine, push away from the floor. Inhale, push the shoulder blades down and look up. Exhale, push away from the floor, rounding the spine. Inhale, drop the shoulder blades down and look up. Inhale, round the spine, pushing away from the floor, cat and cow pose. From here, we'll walk the hands up about a handprint, and we will come into downward facing dog. Bicycling the knees. Your hands are shoulders width, and your feet are hips width apart. Pushing all of the weight up into your hips and then all the way down into your ankles. From here, we'll come to the tips of the toes, bend the knees, step one foot and the other foot through. Inhale to lift and lengthen the spine. Exhale to fold forward. Inhale, sweep the arms up and look up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, sweep the arms up and look up. Exhale, folding forward, hinging from the hips. Inhale, lift and lengthen the spine, hands to shins. Exhale, planting the palms, coming into plank pose. Lowering through chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog, thighs and knees off the floor. Exhale to downward facing dog. Breathing here. Letting your head drop, bicycling the knees. Keeping the weight distributed evenly between the hands. And when you're ready, coming to the tips of the toes, bending the knees, step one foot and the other foot through. Inhale to lift and lengthen the spine. Exhale to fold forward. Inhale to sweep the arms up and look up. Exhale, hands to heart center. And taking a moment here. Inhale, sweep the arms up and look up. Exhale, hinging from the hips, fold forward. Inhale, lift and lengthen the spine, hands to shins. Exhale, planting the palms, coming back to plank, lowering through chaturanga, shoulders are no lower than elbows. Inhale, upward facing dog, thighs and knees are off the floor. Exhale, back to downward facing dog. Breathing here. Bending the knees, one after the other. And come to the tips of the toes, bend the knees, step one foot and the other foot through. Inhale to lift and lengthen. Exhale to fold forward. Inhale, sweep the arms up and look up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, sweep the arms up and look up. Exhale, fold forward, hinging from the hips. Inhale, lift and lengthen the spine. Exhale, coming back to plank and lower through chaturanga. Inhale to upward facing dog, thighs and knees are off the floor. Exhale to downward facing dog. Breathing here, come to the tips of the toes, bend the knees, step one foot and the other foot through. Inhale to lift and lengthen the spine. Exhale to fold forward. Inhale, sweep the arms up and look up. Exhale, hands to heart center. We'll bend the knees, sweep the arms up and come into chair pose, keeping the weight in the heels, and then hinge forward to fold forward here. Inhale, lift and lengthen the spine. Exhale, coming back to plank and moving through your vinyasa down through chaturanga. Inhale to upward facing dog, thighs and knees are off the floor. Exhale to downward facing dog. Breathing here. We'll step the right foot between the hands, down the ball of the back foot, sweep the arms up into crescent lunge just for a breath. And then release, we'll come back to plank and move through your vinyasa. Inhale to upward facing dog. Exhale to downward facing dog. And once again, we'll move the left foot between the hands, staying on the ball of the back foot. Oh, lost my balance there, sweeping the arms up for just a breath. And then releasing and moving it back through your vinyasa. Lower through chaturanga on an exhale, upward facing dog on an inhale, downward facing dog on an exhale. And breathing here. Coming to the tips of the toes, bending the knees, step one foot and the other foot through. Inhale to lift and lengthen the spine. Exhale to fold forward. Inhale, sweep the arms up and look up, and bend the knees into chair pose. Weight in the heels, and then straighten the legs, hands to heart center. We'll come back into chair pose, bending the legs, sweeping the arms up, weight in heels, and then hinge forward from the hips, folding forward. Lift and lengthen on an inhale, and then come back to plank and lower through your vinyasa, meeting back in downward dog. Stepping the right foot between the hands, dropping that back knee down, and sweeping the arms up for a breath, making sure that right knee is over the right ankle and sinking the hips. When you're ready, we'll exhale and remove through your vinyasa. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale to downward facing dog. Stepping the left foot between the hands, dropping that right knee back, sweeping the arms up, sinking the hips, and making sure that left knee is over the ankle. And then coming back to plank and moving through your vinyasa, meeting back in downward dog. And breathing here. Coming to the tips of the toes, bend the knees, step one foot and the other foot through. Inhale to lift and lengthen the spine. Exhale to fold forward. Inhale, sweep the arms up and bend the legs, coming into chair pose, and then straighten hands to heart center on an exhale. Inhale, we'll sweep the arms up, bend the knees, coming into chair pose. Exhale, fold forward, hinging from the hips. Inhale, lift and lengthen the spine, hands to shins. Exhale, back to plank, lower through chaturanga. Inhale to upward facing dog. Exhale to downward facing dog. We'll step the right hand between the legs, we'll come into warrior one, so lining up the back foot with the top left corner of the mat. Just for a breath, bringing the hands up and then moving back through your vinyasa. Sorry, yes, that was warrior one, which we'll now do on the other side. So stepping that left foot between the hands, spinning that back foot back, pointing the toes to the top right corner of the mat, sweeping the arms up for an inhale. Exhale, release, plant the palms, come back to plank. Lower through chaturanga. Inhale to upward facing dog. Exhale to downward facing dog. Breathing here. Come to the tips of the toes, bend the knees, step one foot and the other foot through. Inhale to lift and lengthen the spine. Exhale to fold forward. Inhale, sweep the arms up and bend the knees, coming into chair pose. And then straightening the legs and coming into Namaste, hands to heart center. Inhale, come into chair pose again, sweeping the arms up. Exhale, hinging forward. Inhale, lift and lengthen the spine, hands to shins. Exhale, coming back to plank and moving through your vinyasa. Breathing here in downward dog on an inhale, lifting that right leg up, making sure to drop that right hip down to square off the hips, and then we'll step that right foot between the hands, drop that back knee, and make sure the front knee is over the ankle, sweeping the arms up, sinking the hips for a few breaths here. Pushing the shoulders away from the ears, and when you're ready, we'll release that. And then we'll straighten that front leg, keeping sure that right foot is flexed and bending over that right leg, trying not to round your spine. It's a nice stretch. And when you're ready, we'll release that, coming back to plank and moving through your vinyasa before doing the same thing on the left side. I can barely feel my toes at this point. Lifting the left leg up, squaring off the hips, stepping it between the hands, dropping that back knee down. Left knee is over left ankle, sinking the hips, rising the arms up on an inhale, pushing shoulders away from the ears. I'm also seeing some sea lions at this point, which will interrupt me for the rest of the video, and I do apologize for that. From here, we're going to straighten that front leg and fold forward into half split. Once again, pushing left hip back, right hip forward to square off the hips. I'm very excited about the sea lions. And rebending that, coming back into plank and lowering through chaturanga. Inhale to upward facing dog. Thighs and knees are off the floor, do not forget. And exhale to downward facing dog. Come to the tips of the toes, bend the knees, step one foot and the other foot through. Inhale to lift and lengthen the spine. Exhale to fold forward. Inhale, sweep the arms up and look up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, sweep the arms up and look up. Exhale, folding forward, hinging the hip from the hips. Inhale, lift and lengthen, hands to shins. Exhale, plant the palms, coming to plank, lower through chaturanga. Inhale to upward facing dog, thighs and knees are still off the floor. Exhale to downward facing dog. Feet are hips width and hands are shoulders distance apart. Inhale, lift that right leg up, step it between the hands, stay on the ball of the left foot. We'll sweep the arms up, push the shoulders away from the ears, and then we'll bend that back leg to straighten out the pelvis, making sure that front knee is over front ankle. And we will do this 3 times. And when you're ready, we will come into a prayer twist. So coming into heart center with your hands, hooking that left elbow over the right knee, and coming into a twist here. Still making sure your right knee is over ankle and your back leg is strong. Widening across the collarbones here as well. When you're ready, we'll release this, come back into plank, and lower through your vinyasa, meeting back in down dog. Breathing here. Inhale, lift the left leg up. Exhale, step it between the hands, staying on the ball of the back foot. Left knee is over left ankle. We'll bring the arms up, pushing shoulders away from the ears. And once again, bending that back leg 3 times. Tilting that pelvis, and when you're ready, coming into prayer twist on the left side, so hooking that right elbow over the left knee and widening across the shoulders, keeping that back leg strong, and breathing here. And when you're ready, we will release that, coming back into plank and lower through chaturanga. Inhale to upward facing dog and exhale to downward facing dog. Breathing here. When you're ready, coming to the tips of the toes, bending the knees, step one foot and the other foot through. Inhale to lift and lengthen the spine. Exhale to fold forward. Inhale to sweep the arms up and look up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale to sweep the arms up and look up. Exhale to fold forward. Inhale, lift and lengthen the spine, hands to shins. Exhale, coming back to plank and moving through your vinyasa. Breathing in downward dog. Inhale, lift the right leg up. Exhale, step it between the hands. This time we'll turn the back foot flat, line up front heel to back arch into warrior 2. Right knee is over right ankle again. Your hands are out to a T and you're looking over your right fingers. When you're ready, we'll reverse the warrior, dropping that back arm and lifting that right arm up for a nice stretch on the right side of the body. We'll come back into warrior 2 and hinge from the hips to come into side angle pose. Looking up if that's okay on your neck. I'm so sorry about that. That's my elevator and I cannot escape that sound ever. I apologize for that. We'll come back into warrior 2 and then we'll straighten the front leg. You can walk that back leg in a little bit if that works for you. And we'll reverse the warrior once again. So dropping that back leg and getting a stretch in the front side of the body, and then we'll come into triangle pose. So shifting those hips back and then leaning forward, lining your shoulders up one on top of the other. Your bottom hand can come to the shin, the foot, the floor, whatever works for you, and look up at your hand if that's okay, with your neck. We will come back into Warrior Two for just a moment on an inhale. And when you're ready, we'll windmill the arms down on an exhale and move through your Vinyasa, lowering through Chaturanga. Inhale to upward facing dog, thighs and knees off the floor. Exhale to downward facing dog. Inhale, lift the left leg up. We'll step it between the hands, lining front heel with back arch into Warrior Two, left knee is over ankle, arms out to a T, and looking over your left fingertips this time. That back leg is straight, but also giving you a lot of power. We're going to reverse the warrior. So dropping that back arm and getting a nice stretch in the left side of the body. Then we will come back to center, coming into side angle pose, so dropping left elbow to left knee, bringing that right arm up for a nice stretch in the body, right side of the body, looking up if that's okay on your neck. We'll come back into Warrior Two, and then we will straighten that right leg. You can step that back foot in just a little bit if you'd like. We will reverse the warrior, getting a nice stretch in the left side of the body. Coming back to center, we'll shift the hips back and line up for triangle pose. So shoulders are stacked one on top of the other. You are looking up at your right hand, and your left hand is either touching your shin, the floor, or your foot. Whatever works for you, whatever feels best for you. You can also use a block in this pose if you want. We will inhale and come back into Warrior Two for just a few moments. And on your next exhale, we'll windmill the arms down, coming back to plank, and moving through your Vinyasa. Lower through Chaturanga, inhale to upward facing dog, thighs and knees off the floor. Exhale to downward facing dog. So I'm realizing at this point that the tide is coming in and I'm being swallowed by the ocean, so I realize it's not going to end well for me. So we'll come to the tips of the toes, bend the knees, step one foot and the other foot through. Inhale to lift and lengthen the spine. Exhale to fold forward. We'll sweep the arms up and look up on an inhale, and then exhale, hands to heart center. You can stay at the front of your mat for this, but we're going to bring the right sole of the foot either to the shin or the thigh, never on the knee joint though, into tree pose. So in this pose, we're going to bring hands to heart center as well. And you want to pretend there's someone pulling up on a string so that you're kind of lifting everything up and you're not dumping any weight into your left hip here. If you are struggling with balance, just find one spot to look at that isn't moving. That's always helped me. If you want to take this one step further, you can grab that right foot and extend the leg out for a nice stretch if that works for you. And when you're ready, we'll bring the left sole of the foot either to the shin or to the thigh. For tree pose on the other side, hands are at heart center. And I'm losing my balance. And you can find one spot to look at if that helps for you. And remembering that someone is pulling a string up so that you are lifting everything and not dumping any weight into your right hip this time. And hoping that I don't get swallowed. If you want to take it one step further, you can reach for that left foot and extend that right leg out for a nice stretch. If you look at something that moves, I find it always makes it a lot harder to keep your balance. Okay, we'll release that. We're going to bend the knees and we're going to hook the right leg over the left leg and do the same thing with the right arm over the left arm into eagle pose. You kind of want to pull everything in towards the center of your body, which kind of helps with your center of gravity as well in this one. We're going to release that, and we're going to do the same thing on the other side, so bending the knees, hooking that left leg over the right leg and left arm over the right arm. I think I did the arms the opposite way. and sucking everything in towards the center line of your body to help you with your balance. When you're ready, we'll release that. We're going to step the feet apart to hips width and fold forward, grabbing the big toes with your index fingers for a nice forward fold. If you want, you can inhale to lift and lengthen the spine and then exhale to refold forward. Bring the hands to the hips and come all the way back up to standing. We're going to step the legs out wide for a wide forward fold and fold forward. If your hands are touching the ground, you can try to line up your elbows over your wrists. Inhale to lift and lengthen, and then exhale to fold forward. Try to make sure that your toes are pointing in a little bit towards each other. And trying to keep your spine nice and long. So we'll bring the hands to the hips and come all the way back to standing, and then step to the front of your mat. We are going to take an extra little balancing pose here, but you don't have to do this if you want. We're going to come into crow pose. So bringing your hands to the ground and kind of tucking your knees into your armpits, you kind of shift your weight forward, until your feet come off the floor. Now, you can pause this video and do that if you want. And if you've succeeded, you can try to come into plank and move through your vinyasa, or you can just meet me straight in downward facing dog. Inhale, right leg up. We're going to bend that right knee to open up that right hip. Just for a few breaths here. And then we're going to square off the hips and bring that right knee to the top right corner of the mat into pigeon pose. So you'll want to keep your right foot flexed here to protect the knee, and your left leg is straight behind you. Make sure the weight is evenly distributed between the hips here. I'm also noticing sea lions again. So if you can, from here, come forward and come onto your forearms. And if that's too much for you and doesn't feel good, please come out of this pose and you can hang out in downward facing dog until we are finished in this one. But do remember to keep the weight evenly distributed between your hips. It's very important. I'm also very much getting swallowed by the tide at this point. There's so many distractions for my first video. When you're ready, we're going to come up out of this pose. You can inhale to take a nice little back bend in this pose. You can turn over to the right side to open up for a nice little twist, You can open up to the left side if you want. You can even grab for that left foot to feel a nice stretch in the quad. Making sure to square off the hips and shoulders. The hips and shoulders. Sorry, I cut off. Make sure you're facing the front mat and evenly distributing the weight between the legs and hips. We'll release that and come back into downward facing dog, bicycling one leg out and then the other. Stretching here, and then we're going to inhale, lift the left leg up and the knee, open up the hip. Pushing evenly between the hands, squaring off the hips, and bringing that left knee to the top left corner of the mat. Left foot is flexed, right leg is straight behind you. The weight is evenly distributed between the hips, and you can come down to your forearms if you are comfortable here. Just letting go, trying to sink into the hips. And when you're ready, we'll come up from there. I forget to open up and do the twist, so you can pause this video and do that if you would like. And when you're ready, we'll come to get to a seated position with soles of the feet together, knees apart, sitting up on your sits bones and getting some length in the spine. I'm getting another glimpse of sea lions and I'm pretty excited about it. When you're ready, we'll fold forward, trying to keep the spine nice and long. And when you're ready, we'll come out of that for a moment. And then we're going to fold forward once again. From here, we're going to stack the right knee on top of the left knee, but only if that feels okay on your knees. Keep both your feet flexed, and you can walk your hands out a little bit. It's quite an intense stretch, so if it doesn't feel good, don't worry about it. You can chill with soles of the feet together, knees apart. When you're ready, we'll come back to center and we'll reverse, putting the left knee on top of the right knee, keeping the feet flexed and walking forward to get a nice stretch, intense stretch. Coming back to center. I'm going to release that, bring soles of the feet together, knees apart. And folding forward one more time. When you're ready, we'll release out of that. Sitting forward and bringing our legs out in front of us. We're going to sit on our sits bones. Inhale, get some length, bring the arms up, and then exhale to fold forward. Remembering that it's belly to thighs rather than head to knees. Excuse me. And we'll come out of that. And then we'll fold forward once again. And breathing here. When you're ready, we'll bring the right sole of the foot to the inside of the left thigh. And we'll fold over that left leg. And then we'll bring the right sole of the foot to the floor. We will hug our right arm to the outside of the leg and clasp our hands behind our back, folding over that left knee, keeping that left foot flexed. We'll bring right sole of the foot to the outside of the left knee and hook the right elbow over the left knee for a twist, with each inhale getting a little bit taller and each exhale twisting a little bit deeper. Coming back to center, we'll do the same thing on the other side, so bringing left sole of the foot to the inside of the right thigh, folding forward over that right leg, keeping the right foot flexed. Bringing left sole of the foot to the floor and wrapping that left arm to the outside of the leg and clasping the hands behind the back, folding over the right leg, keeping the right foot flexed. We'll let go of that. We will bring the right elbow over the left knee, left arm behind us for a twist, with each inhale getting a little bit taller, and each exhale twisting just a little bit deeper. Once again, that right foot is still flexed. We're going to release out of that and come onto our backs, hugging our knees into our chest, rocking from side to side, massaging the back. We'll grab the outsides of the feet for happy baby pose. Rocking once again from side to side, massaging your back. We'll release that and set up for bridge pose. So your knees are stacked over your ankles here. You lift your glutes up, you push, round your shoulders underneath. You roll your shoulders underneath, sorry. You want to pretend that there's a beach ball between your legs here, so your knees kind of aren't rolling out. It's really important to keep your knees pulling in. And when you're ready, we'll release that. Bring the soles of the feet together, knees apart, and bring your hands to your belly. Relax. And when you're ready, we'll set up for bridge pose again, making sure the knees are stacked over the ankles, lifting the glutes up in the air and rolling the shoulders underneath, not moving the neck in any way, keeping that beach ball between the knees. And when you're ready, we'll release out of this. Soles of the feet together, knees apart, hands on the belly, and rest. If you want, you can go back into bridge pose, or you can set up for wheel pose. If you haven't done this, I don't recommend doing this one today, but I will do a video on how to do this properly, which obviously I need some practice. But bridge pose is essentially to set you up for a wheel pose. If you did come into wheel pose, please come into a counter pose, hugging the knees into the chest, or a forward fold. From here, we're going to come into plow pose, so we're going to swing the legs up and over our heads, bringing our hands to our lower back for support, kind of tucking the shoulders in to keep them in line with the shoulders, and then we'll come up into a shoulder stand, trying to stay in a straight line, not dumping any weight into your ribs, not turning your neck once again. To come out of this, I like to bring my knees right beside my ears for a big final stretch, but not everyone has to do that. But you can come out of that and hug your knees into your chest. Now another optional pose, but I'm going to come into a headstand a couple of times. So if you want to meet me there, or you want to do it up against a wall, as long as you're doing it safely, please join me for some inversions. If you're doing the same headstand as I am, your hands and elbows are kind of making a triangle to protect your head, and you're trying to push away from your neck so all the weight's not dumping into your neck. When you're ready to come out of that, make sure to come into a child's pose just to counter that, and it kind of helps level out the blood that's rushing to your head. If you want to, you can come into this again. I will also probably do another video about how to properly come into a headstand, because I think that would be really helpful for some people. But doing it up against a wall is definitely a safe way to start playing with that. Maybe have someone else around if you are not comfortable. When you're ready to come out of that, we'll come back into child's pose. I'm obviously scared about getting eaten by a sea lion here. And then we'll make our way back onto our backs if you aren't already there. Hugging the knees into the chest, giving yourself a big hug. From here, we're going to bring the arms out to a T, hook the left knee over the right knee, shift the hips over to the left a little bit, and drop the knees over to the right, looking over at the left shoulder, if that feels okay on your body. I'm officially being swallowed by the tide at this point. She tries to stick it out. We're going to come back to center and do the same thing on the other side. So hooking the right knee over the left knee, shifting the hips over to the right a bit, dropping the knees over to the left, and looking over the right shoulder. If that feels good for you. I decided it was time to move. So hugging the knees into the chest. And then from here, we're going to come into Shavasana. So letting the feet flop open, palms are facing up. And you're relaxing and letting everything go. It's the most important part of the yoga practice. I will be back in a few moments. And while we're laying here just a moment longer, I would like to finish today's practice with a quote, something that one of my favorite yoga instructors used to do at the end of her classes, and she has truly inspired me throughout my life. So I want to take a moment to dedicate my end of class quotes to Leslie Fight Master. May you rest in peace. Today's quote is from Rumi, and I think it goes really well with the things that are going on in the world today. So why do you stay in prison when the door is so wide open? Some food for thought for today. As we're lying here, you can begin to deepen your breath. Wiggle your fingers and toes, bringing yourself back into your body. Bringing your arms up ahead for a big stretch. I apologize for not doing this in the video myself. My video had cut out before I was able to get to this point, so I do want to apologize for that. When you're ready, we'll hug the knees into the chest, give yourself one last big hug, and thank yourself for being here for your practice today. And when you're ready, we'll roll over to the right side and push ourselves up to seated. Bringing hands together at heart center. Thank you so much for being here with me today. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day. Thank you so much, and Namaste. I also want to point out that we have left some sea lion footage at the end of this video, so please do enjoy that. And thank you again.